So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Right. And for the record, so we can have it on our video, can you please share your name, age, and where you're from?
My name is Emerson Xiong. I am 33 and I split time between San Jose and San Francisco. My parents are immigrants from Taiwan. I was born down in San Jose. We lived in the suburbs of Almaden. We grew up in a Christian household, and a lot of my early memories are of community events with our church. Honestly, quite a happy time. And so a lot of my youth was focused around the church.
My name is Jewel Campo, and I am 22, and I'm from Daly City, California. So I went to Catholic school, and I was growing up in Daly City, which is a very predominantly Filipino neighborhood. So a lot of like Filipino food, living with my grandparents, that type of thing. Yeah, most of my friends like maybe lived in like San Francisco or something like that, so I would spend maybe a lot of time at home with my siblings, which I have a lot of siblings. I have 7 siblings, so we would just hang out and stay within the family.
My name is Scott Ushiro. I am 34 years old, and I'm from actually Altadena, California. And then I also am, my parents moved to Virginia, so I grew up half my life in Virginia as well. I grew up in a very diverse community, mostly Black, Latino, and Asian. Yeah, it was very community heavy. Everybody knew each other. Yeah, but when I was in Virginia, it was a little bit more isolated, and community wasn't really a thing. So.
My name is Pallavi Sarup, and I'm from the Chicago suburbs, specifically Naperville, Illinois. Yeah, the neighborhood I grew up was a suburb. We lived in a subdivision in a cul-de-sac, basically. My parents moved to that specific neighborhood because they were confident that the public schools there were very good, and I think had heard from some of their other immigrant friends. So Naperville was a great place to grow up because while it was predominantly white, there were plenty of other like Asian American immigrants and children of immigrants, so I was able to grow up with them.
My name is Addison Shin. I'm 15 years old, and I'm born in Hawaii but raised in Berkeley. So I've lived in Berkeley my whole life, never moved. I think my family's always been really supportive. I have a really big, really close family, so I think that's influenced a lot of my upbringing. I see them super often. And just living in the Bay Area, I feel like Berkeley and like the Bay Area specifically, there's like a lot of things that like, a lot of values that I think I've taken from like the Bay Area.
My dad would be more, he was more financially supportive of everything. Like if you asked him for something, he would talk to my mom, and you know, they would make a decision of like, maybe we should pay for this, maybe we shouldn't pay for this.
That they cared more about sort of a banking method. They wanted me to just know a lot of things rather than learn how to critically think for myself or to question things. They wanted me to just do well academically so I can get to the next step.
But generally, I felt like they were a bit more like hands-off than other Asian American parents, and that like they didn't intervene too much. Like they weren't like very hands-on, and like ultimately they let my sister and I make like our academic choices, our extracurricular choices.
Like when I was younger, like me and my older siblings, we kind of felt like, oh, we're like lower middle class, like we're like not like super struggling, but definitely like I feel like my parents are also very young, so they were a little bit like dramatic about like the things that were going on. Definitely for my dad to put me through a private middle school and private high school was very, like I know that was extremely hard on him, like definitely a struggle.
It's a little bit harder for them, but they're definitely putting in effort, and they always check in on me with my grades. So I think they're doing as much as they can, and yeah, I would say they're pretty involved.
My mom was super involved. Super involved, but sometimes had a lot of blind spots.
How they started as like immigrants who came with very little, and like that scarcity mindset like is still with them, and like they may not acknowledge the privilege they have now because of that.
It felt like the people that were closest to me were all Chinese, but then people at various institutions that I would participate in, so like school, or like doctors, academia, they were all non-people of color, so mostly white.
So definitely grew up like more rooted into like Filipino culture. My grandparents are from the Philippines. But then as I grew older, like when I went to the private schools, I kind of was taken out of that community, and then I was the president of my Asian club in high school, and then the president of the Filipino club in high school. So I was really into that space and really into like activism and stuff like that.
I don't know, I think I've grown up like with a bunch of different people, seen people who have grown up in a bunch of different places, and I think I've seen like a good, like diverse group of people.
People of Asian American descent, like their cultures have like more of a collective mindset like than what's traditional of like American culture.
There's the big idea of like Western versus Eastern, like collectivism versus individualism, and I think that's pretty like accurate. I do think that Asian cultures tend to value like community, togetherness, and things like that.
And then we would all come together for a dinner of a potluck that everyone brought their own various dishes, and it was just a really joyful time until I started knowing that I was gay and having to be like, well, will these people still accept me? I think at the end of the day, they loved me but couldn't accept gay queerness within their religion.
It gives me a broader perspective, especially coming from two different communities. A broader perspective of, I guess, things that are happening in the world. I don't have just a narrow view of, I guess, you know, Democrat or Republican. It's broad. The spectrum's broader, and that things are more nuanced than you think they are.